Mr. David Paan.
1 2 1 2.
We're back to the new way of recording. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Tick tick.
Shall we begin?
You aren't stuck in traffic. You are traffic.
Let's begin now.
Please get that bicycle-shaped object out of this shop. Oh no, dude. No mix and match here. Black bottoms or full-on kit. Pedal on, bro. Pedal on.
Let's begin now.
Oh, geez. Learn the hard way. Wider is better.
That was pretty good there, Mr. David Paan.
That's good.
It's Monday, July 22nd, 2019. You're just downloading or listening to Bike Shop CX. Thanks for listening.
CX.
Thanks for downloading, everyone. Music I'm using on today's show is Bijou by Philly Ron. As always, you can download this tune at the Free Music Archive, where you can download it, coincidentally, for free.
For free.
What are we doing on today's show? We got a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about the Red Kite. What is the Red Kite Ronde? Ronde that Mr. David Paan just did. Yeah. We're going to talk about quickly, briefly, where should you be in your bike prep for the upcoming cyclocross season? Did you know that cyclocross season is coming, Mr. David Paan?
Yeah, we are. It's now July 22nd on Monday. You have said that part already. I'm not going to repeat it, but that means the end of the next week. Cross is coming. Season is
here. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have a party or something. So, all right. I think that's enough of our yapping. Let's get on with it. The bike shop is open. Hey, Mr. David Paan.
Hey.
So, before I
get on a roll,
before we really start doing anything, all the normal, really good stuff that we do,
right?
I have a surprise for you. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is going to be fun. I am going to play.
Fun for who? Our viewers, I hope.
Fun
I don't
for
mind.
Everyone.
Go ahead, embarrass me. I'll take it. But
I have loaded into our sound pads today some various old show intros.
Okay.
From way back in the day.
Yeah.
Of all the different people that we have had on the show in the past.
Cool.
And we haven't heard these in years. Some of them.
Some of them go back to Bike Shop Show days.
Some of them are Cyclocross Network. Some of them are Bike Shop Show.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a variety. But I just kind of want to get an idea of, like, this is all the people that have been on the show over the years. I guess it's the 50th anniversary of the Apollo landing that kind of got me nostalgic.
It's got everybody reminiscing about everything.
Just thinking about So, all right, so here's the first one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hello, this is Elle Anderson from Cal Giant Very Specialized, and you're listening to Cyclocross Today.
Elle Anderson when she was riding for Cal Giant.
When she was a berry girl.
How cool is that?
Yes.
That was a while ago. All right, well, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You ready for another one?
Yeah, tell me.
Hey, this is Ryan Trebone. You guys are listening to Cyclocross Today.
Ryan Trebone.
As uncontroversial as he ever is at that part. Only I remember some direct quotes from him from that episode. We won't repeat those.
All right. I got a few more. I got four more. Here's a good one.
Hi, this is Katie Compton, and you're listening to The Bike Shop Show.
Katie effin Compton, who's actually been on a few times. So.
Friend of the show.
That was from the first time that she was on.
And I think that was the time that Julie was on too, right? Schwendenhoff.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. Yep, because she won the Pedro's Toolkit. Yeah. So, all right, this will take you back to, I think, the 2013 Worlds.
This is Jake Nye. And this is Jesse Nye. And we're the Nye brothers. And you're listening to The Bike Shop Show.
Jake and Jesse Nye. Hey, I've been thinking about them a lot anyways because we're friends and we love them guys.
Yeah, they're local riders, yeah.
And their big thing has been Project Happiness.
Right, yeah.
And I've been meaning to call them to find out, is it Project Happiness or is it Project Happiness? Or is it both?
It's both. That's the beauty of it.
I thought I came up with this really epiphany, and then they probably already thought of it.
Yeah, for sure. And did you know that condenser mic that Dr. Tracy Berman, not that one, but the one she used the first time, it has a Project Happiness sticker on it.
Yeah.
That's from way back in the day. So, all right, 2 more. Here's one.
I'm ready.
This is a good one, too.
Hi, this is Arlie Kemmerer of PB2 Pro Cycling, and you're listening to Cyclocross Today.
Spoken like a true attorney.
Arlie Kemmerer.
Arlie like setting up her closing arguments there.
From PB2 when she was racing. Remember that peanut butter powder stuff? That was very cool. So that's cool. And then this one's just kind of nice.
The finale.
This is just good for you and I especially. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is Sean Diedenbach. This is Zoe Pellin. And you're listening to The Bike Shop Show.
So that is David's daughter and my wife. That I don't even. It was at a race.
That was at the what was it called? Prior to
the Ithaca.
Ithaca, that was it.
It was the Ithaca race.
Yep. Do you remember who we had interviewed on that show? I do. That's okay.
Tell me.
And that was a great day out.
Yeah.
And I think that was the final, if not penultimate. But I believe that was the final Ithaca.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And that was so that for people that don't know what we're talking about, the Ithaca race was the race that the P.T. Barnum of Michigan Cyclocross, Mr. J.B. Hancock, used to do before the current race now.
Right.
Basically, the Ithaca race moved to Alma.
And grew and developed.
And is now better than it ever was in Ithaca. So, how cool was that? A little jaunt
really
down
cool.
memory lane, Mr. David Pound.
Oh, that's so cool. Hey,
it's for.
I know that this
and I'm
isn't-
sure there's people probably listening that go, I remember every single one of those.
Yeah.
I hope there is.
To go way out of order, I know I'm looking at my outline here, and I'm out of order. But here's a good chance to kind of maybe a little bit of going out of order in
Yeah.
What
do you want to say?
J.B. Hancock.
Yes.
Our own P.T. Barnum
is
now sponsored a contest on the Slow Ride podcast.
Yes, that's a good thing to bring up. Yes, absolutely. It's the 16th place. You pick the 16th place finisher on the 16th stage of the tour. You get all kinds of stuff like free
entry and free housing at the
Alma GP. And I think the person that won it last year came to the rate, right?
It was Matt.
Oh, that's right. He wins everything.
He does. He's going to be on our show at some point, I understand.
We're going to try and have him on. So Matt was the second winner of the April CX challenge that we did. And we're going to try and have Matt on actually at the Alma. No, we're going to try and do it. So we decided, he sent me an email. We're going to try and do it at the Alma race. And then we'll have Trek as backup because he's going to both.
Yep.
So if we don't get it in, because you know how cyclocross can sometimes get in the way, we'll have Trek as a backup, and we'll be at Trek for a longer period of time, and we'll figure something out then if we have to. So, but either way, we have something. He is going to be on because he was the other winner.
Yeah.
Along with Michelle, who was on the last show,
and as part of the prize package for the winner this year, I'm told that they're going to be interviewed aboard the good ship
Avalon pontoon boat.
Yeah, Tahoe.
And people need to get over, and first of all, they need to go get over and listen to Slow Ride.
Yeah.
Then they need to hear about the contest, and then they have to enter that contest. And even if they don't win, they need to still come to the Alma GP.
Of course.
Yeah, that's just how it should work. So,
because this will be the second year in a row that they can meet you,
me,
yep, and Mr. Voice of American Cyclocross will be there. Scott Herman. And Mrs. Voice will be there as well. I believe she's racing this year.
Yeah, and come, and because if we do this stuff with the recording with Matt, you can just hang out while we do that. I mean, for sure. And you want to chit chat? That would be awesome. I would love that. So, that would be very.
You know who
cool.
else will be there? A celebrity even bigger than the ones I've already mentioned.
Who's that?
Evil Doug Kniper himself.
I know. I mean, I was going to not say that because I thought it might be too many people for the venue to handle if we let that information
We'd probably
out.
have to get security involved.
So,
and stuff,
by the way,
yes, sir.
Doug Evil Knieper was on the second episode of the Hazy Vinyl Jive podcast.
I knew that. You know how I knew that? I listened.
People in the parts bin and Wide Angle Podium, if you go to the parts bin, there's now 2 episodes of Hazy Vinyl Jive where Doug Knieper and I talk about the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. It's really cool. So go check that out. So, Mr. David Palin, you know what we're going to be drinking, though, when we are at Alma?
Probably the same thing that you and I are drinking right now.
Some Grimpeur Brothers coffee. Get over to GrimpeurBrothers.com or just go to WideAnglePodium.com. There's a link to get there. And if you buy either the full Schleck or hello, cyclocross friends. It helps support the network and helps support the show.
It does indeed. And
you get great coffee, and you support a company that puts their money where their mouth is when it comes to the sport of cyclocross. Mr.
So you put your money where your mouth is with good coffee. They put their money where their mouth is by supporting the show.
There you go. It's look how that all works. Keep it all in the family. But all right. So outside of that, Mr. David Palin, I have a question for you.
Man, we just got really going fast on this. It's rolled right through.
We're over 10 minutes into recording now. What are you talking
And we're
about?
finally getting to it. Go ahead. Ask
What?
me. Ask me anything.
What are you working on?
I'm working on sourcing. I'm always working on sourcing that next part for my bike that I need.
Okay, good. That will go well with today's topic.
I believe it will. Because
Okay.
you already know. At first I thought I could sneak one below you. No. You already know what I'm sourcing, don't you?
What? No. I'm not sure.
Because I used to study after the exams.
Yes.
Because I figured, why study before? Right? Because if you study before an exam, you waste all that time. You might study and not do well. And that's like a loss, right?
Right. Then you
if
feel
you
bad.
don't study, well, you won't study. If you don't do well, you don't feel bad. Of course I didn't do well. I didn't study. But if you study and do well, then okay, I spent all that time. It's not like a good surprise. If you don't study
and do
well,
then you can go,
that's a bonus.
Man, I am really smart.
That's a bonus, right? Same thing. Didn't study the course outline for Red Kite Ronde. Didn't put any thought into how much climbing out of these river valleys along these cobbled climbs.
Didn't put any thought into why do I have a 1x drivetrain on a gravel bike?
Right. So I'm thinking about maybe I need something smaller than a 42-tooth chainring.
42. What'd you have on the rear?
38.
At least you had the 38. You didn't have 36, but still, that's a big. It's really the 42 that's the problem in that setup, I think.
And,
right?
and as you will know, because Dr. Tracy is a sweetheart and she won't tell you, so I will tell you.
Yeah.
I was grunting and complaining, and I tried so hard to convince her that I was once a climber. I used to take such pride in my ability to climb on a bicycle.
The whole time you're doing it, you're like, yeah, I'm a sprinter now. I'm not good at climbing.
No, I wasn't trying to lie to her. I'm not a sprinter. I'm a complainer. I was a walker.
I'm very dangerous over short distances.
I'm very fast at river crossings. Yeah, so we'll talk more about that.
How many times did you think to yourself, man, I wish I had a 36 to drop this chain into?
I was so desperate, I was thinking, I wish I had a small ring.
Yeah, like a triple.
Yeah, a triple would have come in handy.
I wish I had a 20.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Well, we'll hear more about that as we get to it.
So tell me what you're working on.
Oh, this is going to blow your mind. I am working on, I just have to look at it. I am working on a wheel for a horse cart. Seriously.
So, no, hold on. So are these trotters?
No, it's not like a race buggy.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a 4-wheel cart that gets pulled by a horse. Yep. But it's basically a huge bicycle wheel.
Spoked wheel?
Spoked wheel.
Wouldn't you have, because I have a spoke shave if you need it.
No, they're not wood. It's a 24-inch wheel.
Yeah.
Has this big fat tire on it, and it's basically a big bike tire. I don't know what gauge the spokes are, but they're huge. Yeah. And then 2 pressed-in sealed bearings on either side. One of them is completely blown out and shot.
Yeah.
The other one's still there, but it's really janky. So, yeah, I just got it, and I'm going to try and get those out for them and then figure out the outside and inside diameter and see if we can get more, and I'll press them in for them. So
beautiful.
See, this is the kind of stuff that people bring to bike shops. You know, it's like you get all kinds of, it's not just bikes when you're at a shop.
We get a lot of wheelchairs.
That was what I was going to say. Wheelchair stuff.
You know what we get all the time?
What's that?
The walkers with the handbrakes.
Yes, we get those too. Yes, the cable is broken or it's frayed or it's almost broken. Yeah, we get those all the time.
And Grandma's got like this skid mark on her cheek
where she went down,
on that sharp curve.
Because let's be honest, they're probably taking curves like, let me see what I can make this thing do.
What? I don't know what the speed limit is into this turn, but I'm figuring it out.
If I pull these front legs up off the ground, how fast can those wheels go? Right? Yeah, we know. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what we'd be doing, right? great.
For sure.
Oh, I got a little bit of a downhill here. Let's see me take this. Just let it roll. Let it roll. So, yeah, this is actually the second horse cart wheel that I've worked on ever. The other one actually was for a race bike, and it had these... I think it's part of the rules. They have to have the spoke protectors, just like the bike polo guys and women use to keep the ball from going in the spokes or anything else. But, yeah, I think it's part of the rules just for safety for the horses because a foot could go through in a crash or something. So, yeah, you had those on. But they were basically bike stuff, and I took it out.
Did you put... what kind of bearings were in that one?
It was the same setup. It was like, they're kind of like
Kogels? Were they Kogel bearings in there or no?
No. They're kind of like, if anyone's ever worked on a tricycle and the rear wheels on a tricycle.
Yeah.
You know how it's just an axle that goes through two bearings.
Right.
And that's it. They're really weird and kind of a pain to get any kind of part. There was just not good parts.
Do they have that funky little lock washery kind of silver thing that sticks on the end like on the tricycle wheels?
I don't know because all I have is the axle.
Okay.
They did bring me the axle. It's just like a threaded axle with two nuts on it. So I don't know. It could. Who knows? So anyways, that's what I'm working on.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's fun. It's fun when we can do things out of the ordinary, you know?
That's exactly it. That's what makes it fun. It's like instead of doing another brake pad adjustment. Oh, wait. So you see someone come in, you're like, oh, wait. What? Yeah. And then and the people that bring that stuff in are always so thankful that they found even that you're willing to try to do it. You know, they're like, oh, that's there. And these guys there's actually a woman that brought it in. She's like, if you can't do it, she's like, you know, I got to buy another wheel. That's fine, but we can't make it any worse. So if you're willing to try, that'd be cool. So so we're gonna give it a try. So Mr. David Palin.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about Whoop
It Up. I was, as you know, with Dr. TB this weekend, and I was with.
Was she wearing her Whoop?
She was. She waited because she had, you know, how she is with colors. She had a specific color she wanted, so she had to wait a little bit longer till that one was ready and shipped.
Absolutely.
She's a patient woman. Shoot, she rides with me, so she's obviously a patient woman.
She's learned.
And do you know what color she chose?
No idea.
You know what kind of riding she does?
Yes. Gray.
Cyclocross.
To match her frame.
Gravel roads.
Yes.
She's in a river.
White. Most
it's not white anymore.
They won't wear white socks in case they get dirty, but white Whoop. No, actually, I bet it looks slick.
It did.
Man, that is
not so
really
much anymore.
Cool. But yeah, so for people that don't know, Whoop is a performance aid, would you say, Mr. David Palin?
Performance tracker, I would say.
Performance
aid kind of has this sense of
it's going to help you.
Performance enhancer, right?
Yeah. No, it's not something.
No.
Well, it does help you in the sense that it helps you get the best out of your routine by ensuring or helping you decide if you're getting enough, mostly around rest and recuperation. So it's very, very cool. And what's the website?
Whoop.com.
And if you use the code word bike shop, you'll get 15% off your subscription
of 12 or 18 months.
The bracelet itself is free.
Free.
All you pay for is the subscription, and you'll get 15%.
15%.
That's more than 10.
It's a little less than 20, but it is a lot of money.
And it'll help you, make decisions like, should I take a nap?
Yeah, or today on my calendar says I'm supposed to go hard, but that's going to be a wasted effort based on what Whoop is telling me about my level that I have to get into today.
Right, because for some reason I didn't sleep last night because of whatever. If I can push that effort another day and still maintain my basic training setup, I'd get more out of it. So stuff like that is what you can look at and do with it. So go check it out, whoop.com. Again, we say it all the time, Mr. David Palin.
We do.
Support the people that support the sport.
All right.
Okay, Mr. David Palin. So we have two kind of... Let's talk about the Red Kite Ronde.
Do we have to?
This was tell us, it's a gravel grinder.
It's an adventure race.
I'm going to call it a gravel grinder / adventure race.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's a lot to it. There's river crossing. I think if you have more than one river crossing, you got to start calling it
if the river crossing is not rideable, then it's an adventure race.
And the river crossing was like knee deep for most people.
Waist deep for me.
Waist deep.
And I did make sure that I was holding on to my back pockets to make sure that none of my like my phone and stuff that was in a bag wasn't going to go underwater.
Right,
so
right.
it was.
That's serious.
Evidently, I'm getting taller because that wasn't an issue. But
how was the current? Was there much current, or was
there was a little bit, but not
nothing
like dragging you down?
And I had suck you along. Yeah,
I had the bike holding by the top tube over my head, kind of over my back. So I mean, if the bike were in the water, maybe it would have had some drag to it, but it wasn't an issue, and it wasn't. The bottom wasn't super slick. Sometimes you get in with fast-moving water, and it can be really slick bottom.
Yep.
It wasn't that.
Well, that's good.
And it was quite refreshing, given the fact that it was 90-something degrees
and
143% humidity. It was crazy.
It was at 6:30 a.m. that morning. It was 93% humidity.
Yeah, that's a lot of humidity.
What?
Yeah.
So all right, so that's what kind of race is, and then it was like a get together down there with you guys. I feel like I missed out. It was you, Dr. T, Doug and John from the gravel lot.
Yep.
The voice of American cyclocross, Scott Herman,
Mr. and Mrs. Voice of
and
American,
Julie Herman.
Yeah,
amazing.
It was so much fun. It was like, and the promoter himself was Ryan Gam, who is Red Kite Coaching, big in the OVCX and in Ohio, was a kind of a benefit for the Red Kite Fund, which supports Jen Malik and Sam Kiefer. Everybody was there.
Jen Malik, who used to be on my team.
Who used to be on my team. Yeah. Yep. She mentioned that.
Did she?
Of course she does. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
We saw Chris Arndt down there, who represents Smanier. I learned this. This is the correct pronunciation. Who does saddles? They do some bar tape as well and some other products, but they're trying to break into the U.S. market. They're big in Europe. Smanier. I talked to Chris about coming on, talking some tech talk about saddles.
Cool. But this was a brutal.
Yeah.
And
you weren't even there. It was brutal for you.
I mean, the heat was brutal alone, but the course sounds like...
The course was really a course of attrition.
I mean, one of the things we should say is, people, to viewers, if you're looking for a race, one of these races where you're like, I wonder if I can finish, right? I'm not going to, I wonder if I could get in the top 10. No, we're talking about a race where you might be going, I wonder if I can finish this, right?
And I'll tell you, I had that sense of, I wonder if I can finish, and you'll hear about my experience.
Yeah.
Dr. T, Dr. T knows she's going to finish. If she starts, she's going to finish.
Yeah.
But Doug and John had a sense of, am I going to finish?
Yeah.
They were pro racers out there, and Cat 2 amateur racers that I have tremendous respect for that answered that question with a no.
With no. So I mean, but a lot of people, that's an attractive event, right? That's the kind of thing they're looking for. This is what I want to do, is find stuff that it's really difficult to finish, and is really challenging. So this might be an option, because it's going to happen next year, right?
It is.
And you're going to be a part of it?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. And one of the things that I really liked about this going in, we talked about it. I tried to encourage as many people from up here as I could. They will go next year after hearing and seeing pictures of what it was this year. You come down to Grimpeur, Ohio, pretty pastoral little part of Ohio, Amish country. There's hills there. There's big hills there. It's beautiful.
It's not called the Ohio Valley for no reason.
I was hoping it would be in the valley.
Right. Like along the
like
bottom.
Just along the
bottom.
bottom.
No, it's going to go up and down the valley.
Yeah.
It's like doing a half pipe skateboarding, right? You're going up and then coming down.
It's like riding the sine wave, right?
Right.
So, yeah, that was hard. But you come into this beautiful little town, stay at Kenyon College, which was super nice. You went in, we registered, you got housing in the dorms. You ate in the
cafeteria.
Cafeteria food has a reputation. this was good stuff.
Yeah,
I've good.
At any events like this, I've never had a problem with food. It's always
been
really good.
Really good.
Yes.
Yeah. Lunch ladies were nice.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to go back in the line twice. And
on multiple day events, you don't care. You're just starving.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
So you ate Friday night, you raced Saturday. Yep. They had a party Saturday night. Then they had an award ceremony. And then you stayed over Sunday. And they
stayed over Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
You had breakfast Sunday, and off we went. And it's only 3 hours from here. From Michigan, where we are.
Yeah.
3 hours from Cincinnati. 3 hours, almost 4 hours maybe from Indy.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in this area, it's 2.5, 3 hours from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yeah. Go
to this race. And it supports a good cause.
Yeah.
And you will challenge yourself, and you will know what you're made of at the end.
Yeah. For sure. That's what it sounds like. So tell us about your race.
You said race, didn't you? Well, here you go again.
Well, tell us about your short ride.
So all the disclaimers going into it. We talked about Coast to Coast. If you haven't listened to that show, go back, listen to it. You'll hear me complaining and moaning about that show. And then going into this race, my hip I knew was not top shape.
Yeah.
I've been getting some exercises, some stretches. I've been doing those twice a day. Feeling a lot better. But even with my prep rides going into this, it was hurting.
You knew you were going to tax it, right?
Yeah.
It was going to be,
I went and I checked with my PT ahead of time and said, am I going to hurt myself by doing this? He said,
It's going to hurt, but you're not. But you won't hurt yourself necessarily.
And
there's a difference.
I said, "You sure?" I wanted him to tell me not to do it. He said, "Do it." So Tracy and I went down there, and Friday night met with Doug and John. And John, being the wise one of the four of us, he and Tracy being smart, anyways, said, "You know what? It is so hot. I know how I perform in the heat. I already talked to Ryan. I switched from the 200 to the 90K.
Yeah."
I'm out. Enjoy your ride tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I looked at Doug. I said, "Hey, Doug, you riding 200 with Tracy and I?" And he's like, "Nope. Dance with the one that brung you."
I'm riding with John.
He's riding with John. He's my buddy. We train together. We're riding together.
So they both switched to the 90.
So I asked Tracy, "You want to ride 90?" It's like,
because it is 95 degrees. Well, actually, it was 95 up here. It was probably over 100 down there.
It had to be every bit of that.
Yeah. So anyways.
And she's like,
Nope.
And I meant dance with the one that brung you. So, and I at that point, I still think I had a chance of finishing and going through. We started rolling.
Yeah.
And as typical for those kinds of races, the front group had ex-pro roadies, had current pro cross racers. The top of the sport locally was out there. I know I'm not holding on to this.
Sure.
I let that roll so fast away, and we started rolling, and it's just getting hotter and hotter, and we started into hills, and then, as we talked about in the opener, what the heck was I thinking in not changing my gearing, and I'm running a 42.38.
42 on the front of this thing.
We got to the first thing we got to was that first river crossing.
Yeah.
Which was, I'll tell you.
So I think, Doug contacted me last week about his bike, right? And he was running, I believe, he had a 40 in the rear.
Yeah.
And I believe he had a single ring as well, but I think he had a 40 in the front too.
I think it may have been a 38.
Right, no, he had a 38 in the front. You're right. So, yeah, I mean, he at least could do a 38-40. Way lower gear.
Yeah. We went through the river, which was actually, Tracy likes to call me a pretty little princess. One of my things, I don't like having wet feet.
Nobody does. I don't think. Some people can tolerate it better than others, but no one likes it. I mean, if someone tells you they like that, they're kidding you.
No.
Right? Unless you're scuba diving, wet feet is not
good. When you come out of the water, I like my feet to be dry. In the water, I don't mind.
In the water, it's not so bad.
Yeah. I would prefer them to be dry, but I can handle it. We came out, and that water felt so good. Part of me didn't want to come out.
Right.
The river.
Part of you wanted to just dunk down, probably.
But it's steep, slippery slope. It wasn't even like, by the time we got there, one of the women that was riding with us at that point said, "Oh, I see footprints over there. That's how you get down there." It wasn't like even clearly marked. and this is not a dig on, the route wasn't marked. This was an adventure race.
Right.
You were told there are no markings out there. You have a GPS file. You have a turn-by-turn file.
Yep.
And there were some parts where I was talking with the woman that won, Wendy, was saying, yeah, there was a part where my Garmin kept telling me I was off course, so I was doing this like spokes from this one point to figure out where to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we get to this river crossing. In we go. Slide down the bank because it's so steep and slippery.
Yeah.
Cross, enjoy that comfort for that 5 minutes across the river, start to climb back out, slipped in a little bit of a briar. And luckily the woman, Megan, who was with us at that point, was a little faster than me going in and across and out.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you can't get through over here. And she had to climb back down the bank. We had to go over to the other side of the bridge.
There's one example where being a little bit slower actually can play to your advantage.
Certainly did there. Yeah, and then at that point, it was not far after there. That was somewhere in the 20-mile mark, somewhere around 25 to 30 miles. It was clear to me that
it wasn't your day.
It wasn't my day for a number of reasons. I'm the anchor around Tracy's neck.
Yeah.
And even if I were to say, hey, I'm going to go and just slug it out myself, not just because I was the anchor on her neck, but that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And I knew that the 35-mile mark had a stop with people there.
So
I knew that because some of the stops, some of the checkpoints, well, I guess not checkpoints, were just water stations where they left out jugs of water with ice chests with ice in them.
Mm-hmm.
They actually added to the number they were going to put out just to make sure because it was
that was
so
a good
hot.
idea.
Yep.
Well done.
They really took care of us. And I didn't want to get to that and try to abandon there. I'm going to yell to the Amish pack horse out there, get me home.
Right.
So
so that was a sensible place to
it just
to
made
call
so
it.
much sense there.
Yeah.
I wasn't destroyed for the whole day. And it didn't get heat stroke or anything like that.
And Tracy, of course, went on to finish.
Of course she did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
And at that point, we were riding with the sweeper, and Rachel said to me, don't worry, they won't leave Tracy alone. I said, I'm not worried at all. He should worry because Tracy's going to do her number, whatever that number is. And
she's going to take off without me.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, they talk about like the slingshot effect in car racing.
Yeah.
And that's how I helped Tracy do so well.
I see.
It's like a slingshot where you pull it back, you pull it back, and then you let it go, and off it goes. So I was doing my best to pull her back way beyond the back end of that bike race.
So she essentially got to rest for those first 35 miles.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what it was.
A way to get the mileage out, some of the mileage behind her without working too hard, and then she could go from there. Yeah.
Exactly.
That was a good strategy.
So she owes that third place to me. And indeed, she did take third place at the inaugural Red Kite Ronde.
Nice.
I think there were 10 men that finished, maybe a couple more, maybe a couple less, and I think 4 women finished.
Man, oh man,
yeah,
that was tough.
And the people that finished, many of them fell off their bikes and laid in a heap for a while.
Yeah, or couldn't get off their bikes.
Kirk Albers, former pro for Jelly Belly, had trouble getting off his bike for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been at races where that's happened before too.
Yeah.
So,
but
my goodness. Well,
Dr. Tracy Berman, she finished at whatever her number was.
Yeah.
I handed her a Coke. She took a little sip, got off her bike. like okay, we're done. What's next? Do I have time to shower before the award ceremony?
Oh, that's great. It sounds amazing. But like we were saying, Mr. David Palin, if people are looking for that kind of event, dude, it sounds awesome.
I was excited to go down because I like Ryan and Rachel and Red Kite and what they're doing, and I trust their level of coaching and the events they do. They do a cross camp in the September, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
They put on the beach blanket party, part of the Cap City Cross series.
Mm-hmm.
I know they do good stuff.
Yeah.
But once having gone down to this thing here, I cannot tell you how excited I am
to do it
again. And I will have I promise you,
at least,
if not a double, I will have a smaller chain ring on the front.
You need to just get a double ring. Put a double ring on it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I like it, I'd put a double ring on it. Is that your Beyonce there?
Not only that,
yeah,
I would say put a 34 on it.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so much better for gravel grinding. Single ring, as we've said often on the show, in my opinion, my personal opinion is single ring is for cyclocross.
And I used to really love to argue with Scotty D about this.
Gravel grinding You should have a double.
You know what? As I was going up one of those hills, and Dr. T may attest to this, I yelled to the forest, Scotty D was right! I hate it when he's always right! Why don't I listen to Scotty D?
That's so funny.
Which brings us kind of, people should listen to Scotty D. Let's hear what people have to ask.
That's right. I mean, God. So, well, no. Before we do that, we're going to do our little topic because we promised people that we would talk about. You know, CX is coming. Season is coming.
I've heard that.
We got another week.
Mention that.
We got another week of CX is coming. Season is coming, and then CX is coming. So that's really cool. But we, as we talked about in the spring when the previous season ended. We've talked about taking your bike apart, right? How do you get things off, double checking everything, going through. That's the time when I believe we mentioned several times when you should actually be looking at things to see if they're broken or worn out or beyond saving, stuff that you're going to get rid of. So now we're at the point, we're actually a little late, Mr. David Palin, but it's because we had so much other stuff to talk about. But we want to start rebuilding our bikes, right?
We do.
So if your bike is a dedicated cyclocross bike and you have other bikes that you use through the summer for gravel or road or mountain or whatever, where should you be in the process of starting to get going again? And basically how it always was for me when I was building racers' bikes for the season is, and when I was committed to a certain rider or two that I was helping, be it Spencer Petrov, Drew Dillman, Courtney McFadden, whatever, any of those, Jen Malik, all those. Well, I didn't actually build any of Jen's bikes, but I did build some of her wheels. So, but it's typically that you're going to be doing that in the month of August.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But you need the whole month to do it because in the bike world, when all these bike parts and frame manufacturers and all that stuff have the new latest and greatest thing coming out, unless your name is something like Sven Nys or something like that, then you get it immediately. Everyone else kind of gets it
when
almost right before the season starts, right?
Yeah.
So
if you're lucky.
And sometimes it even involves you using stuff from last year for the first couple of races that you're then going to put on and switch once you get them. So that happens all the time. So with that in mind, let's say you're going to use that. You're following a similar schedule for your own cyclocross season for yourself. Maybe you're self-supported. What point should you be at right now? We're still in July. We have a week left in July. So if you're going to use that month of August as your build month, right, where you're going to be putting stuff together, you're going to be gluing tires. You're going to be putting your bottom bracket, your crank back in, your bottom bracket back in, making sure all your bearings. Here's the thing. Oops, I just hit my mic. You should not start the season with worn bearings or almost worn bearings, right?
Yeah, of all things.
If your
all your bearings.
If your plan is, I'm going to hit a cyclocross race or two this season, then fine, it doesn't matter. If your plan is, all right, I have a goal for this cyclocross season. It's going to involve me racing a full-on season of really hard cyclocross races. Mm-hmm. Start with brand new bearings.
Yeah.
Start with a brand new chain.
Yes.
If your chain has a little bit of light, you're like, yeah, but my chain's not worn out. Then you already have a backup.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. And it's fine to use as a backup.
Yep.
Start the season with all your best stuff, right? So that you're ready to go. You're going to get a good quality ride right from the beginning and get that momentum going of good performance and good maintenance on everything that you have. Use your current chain if it's got wear in it for backup, and go from there. As the season progresses, and you get towards, if you got goals at nationals this year, again, put the best stuff on your bike for nationals.
Yeah.
Right? You should always. So, and in fact, you can even look at that partly from week to week. Every week, you're kind of making the decision, I should have the best parts that I have on my A bike, right?
Yeah, this week.
Don't think, well, I have a better one of these, but this one still has a little life on it, so I'm going to save that.
Right.
No, every week, kind of grab your head around. I want the best stuff that I have on my bike this week. Right? Is kind of a way to approach it. It's the way I always approach it. So, before we get to that build month, though, in August, so it's still being July, Mr. David Palin. I think the thing we want to stress is now is when you should be getting all those parts that you need, that you've already figured out that you need, now's the time to get them together. So some examples. What's one example?
We talked about chains.
Chains for sure.
Right? Brake pads or brake rotors, depending on what you are running. Or both, I guess, right?
Brake rotors. And here's the thing. Maybe if you're a one-bike racer, you need at least 3 brake rotors, right?
If they're both the same size.
If they're both the same size. If they're not the same size, then you need 4.
Right.
So you should not... If you bend a rotor, you should be able to replace that at the race.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, don't try to straighten. Straightening a rotor is hard enough, and you may want to try to do it for your
hard enough when they
later.
just have little bends in them that you have to straighten up. But if it's got a real kink because you hit a post or something, it's done. It's done. So, so think of that, brake rotors, and of course tires. The thing is with tires, you probably still have a little bit of chance. I haven't checked a lot of the places real recently, but you probably still have a little bit of a chance to get treads that you want.
But once this show gets posted,
they're
going to be sold out because people are listening to us and they know.
Right. So if you need tubulars, especially if you need tubulars, get your tubulars immediately.
Here, let me make a recommendation. Mm-hmm. The recommendation, our viewers only.
Okay.
Shh. Viewers. Go to GrimpeurBrothers.com. Get yourself some full select coffee.
Yeah.
And bring a pound of coffee to your local bike shop and bribe them to make sure that you get tires.
That you get your Griffos.
Yeah. Because everyone else is going to be getting tires.
Yeah. So get on that right away for tires, and then just have your list going, right? We're early enough now that you should be piecing all that stuff together that you're going to need.
You know what? I don't know if it was on your list already. We were looking for number 10. Cables. Was cables on your list?
Cables, yes. Cables.
Cables is on your list.
Housing. If you think you're going to need shift housing,
do it now.
Get some. And the other thing, Mr. David Palin, just throwing it out there, have a pre-cut piece of shift housing for the back part that connects to your rear derailleur.
Right, because that one's quick, throw it on immediately.
Pre-cut length, ready to go. Make a few of them.
And you know what? Even if you don't run full housing, and you probably don't, pre-cut a bunch of them and mark them, label them. That's the key.
Yeah,
because saying, I'll remember that this little shorter one, but the middle size, almost short one, goes here. Yeah, cut them now and label them.
Yep. So that's just something. If you're a mechanic and you're supporting someone, that's just something to have in your pit bag. It takes no room.
Yep.
And you should have that
and
every single time. Yeah, and and that's all tools and that's all stuff in your kit. I hope you have all that stuff. Here's the other thing, Mr. David Palin.
There's another thing.
Cleats, shoe cleats.
Yeah.
Have your shoe cleats ready to go. Do not start the season with anything other than new shoe cleats, or darn close to new.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Cleats take a long time to wear out. So if you got some that have a few little miles on it, that's one thing. But don't wear the pair that you've been running in gravel. You've been running up the hills at the Red Kite Ronde, right, and on gravel all summer long, and you put them on in May.
It took me all summer to finish that thing. Yeah,
you put them on in May.
Yeah.
You've done 8 gravel races with them where you were trudging up hills and out of rivers and up banks and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go race cross in those cleats.
Yeah. Do you hear that, Dr. Tracy Barman?
Go put new cleats on.
We're talking
to
you, Dr. T.
Yeah. So, and it doesn't mean you got to get rid of that stuff. It becomes backup or second choices should you have a problem.
Yeah,
so,
it can go to Mr. Dr. Tracy Barman.
That's right.
For his racing.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing, Mr. David Palin, we've talked about this. Everybody should already have one of these with any bike that they have.
A chain checker. Ooh, we'll get to that. A little foreshadowing there.
No, what do we always say, Mr. David Palin? As soon as you buy a bike with a removable...
Buy a derailleur hanger.
Buy a derailleur hanger. So you should have a derailleur hanger. If you're, again, assess what's your plan for cross. Am I just going to do 1 or 2 races? Then 1 hanger is probably enough. If I'm going to race a full season, maybe I'll get 2 because...
If I'm going to Europe... I'm bringing them with me.
If you're going to Europe,
I'm not going to try to find them there.
5 or something like that.
You could probably black market sell them in Europe.
You can, just have derailleur hangers. The other thing is, you never know if you have a bunch extra. The thing is, they're not cheap anymore.
Well, I was going to say, it's like
freaking expensive.
They used to be like $5, $10, and then my Colnago was $35.
Yes.
And now the salsa ones are like $25, $30. Yeah. They used to be cheap.
Man, oh man.
Hey, could you think you could print one of those with a 3D printer?
3D printer. That's what I'm telling you. It's the future.
It is.
We got some questions about that.
It's all ball bearings. Maybe you need a refresher.
Yeah, let's see. All right, somebody send us an email. What movie is that from? We'll see. And I don't know. What do we give out, Mr. David Palin? I don't know. Maybe something.
We'll give him maybe a Fetzel valve or something.
So all right. Well, and there's other things, but go through in your head about what you're going to need, and get it for your A bike. You want that thing brand spanking new. And depending on your level of racing, you might want the B bike the same way. In fact, I should stop referring them to A and B bike, because one of the things we did, and this is the team that Jen was on, we stopped calling them A and B bikes, right? Because that implies a hierarchy.
Right. So you call them like Tony and Fred, or Mary and Sally,
so everybody just named their bikes, and they were equal.
Yeah,
right. They would start on different ones for different races, and that's how we would run it. So that is another way to think of it, is instead of calling it an A and B bike. But most people have a bike that they used last. They got a brand new bike, and they have last year's bike. So one is a little bit better. So they have an A bike and a B bike. So that's cool too. So, but maybe you don't. Maybe you have two equal bikes. All right, Mr. David Palin. I think we kind of covered that. I
think we did.
Next
week,
you need to be putting stuff together, right?
Yeah.
Your bike has to be coming together, headset bearings in, bottom brackets pressed, cranks fitting in, deciding if you're going to run a single ring or a double ring.
I've already decided.
Deciding what kind of pedals you're going to ride.
Yeah.
No, that's probably already been decided. So, all right, Mr. David Palin,
Yes,
you want to
sir.
move on to questions?
Let's move on to questions.
We got some questions. Was I going to read the first question?
You told me what the order was. It's in our notes.
I am going to read the first question, and this one actually just got sent in. We're not going to go too deep into this because I need to go check it out because it's some good information. But last time we talked about, in the Chain Checker episode, we talked about getting points for West Coast riders getting points, especially Northwestern riders. A lot of people who ride in the unsanctioned series that happen up there.
Mm-hmm. They're good quality riders without USAC points.
Good, awesome series, amazing series. But hoping that if those people still come to nationals, we want them to come to USNet because it's in Tacoma, right nearby for them this year. And so anyways, we got this email from West Coast Jeff. We just got this, and I have not had a chance to check out these links that you sent us, Jeff. But Jeff says, "Yo, dudes."
That's a good one.
That's awesome.
It's funny because when you
Did
forwarded
they say
this to me,
on the West Coast? I didn't realize that.
Maybe he's not from there originally. I don't know.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But you said this to me originally, and it said dudes in the little primer that I could see, the little teaser, and I thought it was from you.
That's how I would
That's how I always get
Wanted to comment on your Chain Checker episode and the discussion around nationals and USAC points for West Coast racers. Clint and Jennifer Clayson from Time Your Race Promotions are super people and figured out a unique solution to the exact example you mentioned. A good, healthy racing community and culture that isn't USAC sanctioned, ultimately preventing racers from getting national staging points. So then there's a link. It's westcoastcx.com. I'm going to go check that out, Jeff, and see what I think about that. But it's basically a ways for West Coast riders to maximize their USAC points without having to kill themselves and fly all the way to the East Coast for 3 weeks or stuff like that. So, love the show. Don't change a thing ever, except know that the Jonathan Page race recap will live on for me like the way people rewatch It's a Wonderful Life every year.
Oh, West Coast Jeff, I have to live with this guy. Don't do this.
I can't wait to listen to it again. As you should, Jeff. Thank you so much. It was people are loving that.
Jeff,
Mr.
I
David.
ride 6 hours at a time in the Sprinter van with this guy, and now he's going to make me read this to him.
Hey, David, do you want to listen to that episode
again? West Coast Jeff says we should listen again.
Well, you'll probably be happy to hear, West Coast Jeff, that the work on the next one of those has just begun. It's still in the very early stages. I've chosen the race that it's going to be. And are you ready for this? Some people really like the music loops that I used on the last one, but I am by no means know what I'm doing with that, right? Yet. I'm going to have somebody who actually knows what they're doing with Pro Logic.
Yeah.
Someone
I may have spoken to recently.
Someone you may have spoken to.
About this.
I think his name is Doug, and he does a show called The Grab-A-Lot.
Yes, sir.
Who actually was a pro DJ.
Yes. Did you hear about his DJing
lit himself on fire at one point. So there you go.
Not just everybody does that, Some people are dedicated to their art form.
Right. So I think I think Doug will be fine with me telling this. Doug is going to lay the music for the next one. So it's going to be
wait.
Really good.
And I understand that John will be playing some riffs that are going to get laid in there.
So yeah, we're really excited. I am starting working on the narrative part. I'm going to do that. I'm doing the final editing. And then we're going to then Doug is going to put down some music on it. We're going to put that all together, do a little intro, and boom, that'll be up. So I think you'll be happy with the race we chose. And
it's not the Alma GP.
It's not the Alma GP.
That was came in second.
But are you ready for this? Speaking of that.
Yes, sir.
I also got word from Mr. J.B. Hancock, the P.T. Barnum of Michigan Cyclocross. Mm-hmm. And he told me that he has some races on DVD that are not on YouTube.
Oh, not yet.
Not on YouTube, period.
Yeah.
And if I was interested in doing those, he'd be willing to let me borrow those. Nice. So some of those might be coming in the near future, Mr. David Palin.
Yeah. I get some stuff on Betamax.
Well, these were like purchased DVDs. They're like they're like races that he bought or something. But they've just no one's ever put them on YouTube. They're not there. And he's like, some of them are really good. So that could be really cool. It'd be a way to like get some of that stuff out there that maybe you don't get a chance to see very easily. So very cool stuff. So thank you, Jeff, for that. And I'll check that stuff out and we'll let you know what we think about it.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
All right, Mr. David Pound, hit us with the next one.
Greetings. Does that accent sound good?
That sounds British.
It sounds British. So I say greetings. It's Crosscast Neil here.
Crosscast Neil. I'm going to go ahead. We usually don't say emailer's last name, but I'm going to go ahead and say Neil Mansfield because his name is out there everywhere.
Yeah.
And Neil.
A fellow caster, obviously, Crosscast.
Yes, I feel bad, Neil. How many times have we said we got to get Neil on our show?
I don't know.
1 million?
At least.
Yeah. And we still haven't done it. So, Neil, thank you for sending us an email. We're going to make it happen. We got to get together.
This year, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe we do a preseason show with both the podcasts.
Maybe we can Skype with Neil while we're at the Trek World Cup.
What?
He would probably dig that if he's not coming. I'd love it if he was coming. That would be amazing if you could come to that, Neil. But if you can't, maybe we can set up Skype with our roadcaster here and be Skyping with Neil right from the Trek World headquarters. While I'm not during the race because I'm going to probably be watching that.
Right.
But
no, that would be great.
But at some point over that weekend, that'd be a cool idea. Oh, anyways, Neil. So Neil, we'll think about that. So
you know what? That just struck me because they do the Three Peaks. They talk about the Three Peaks. They call it a cyclocross race. It's not a traditional cyclocross race.
It's I don't know what
it's
that
an adventure
thing
race.
Is. That is an amazing race. The pictures from that thing are just, you got to be kidding me. And that's amazing. So
I've been lucky so far, but I'm going to say it now, and this is going to be my doom. Dr. Tracy Berman doesn't know about that race yet.
Oh, geez.
If she finds out about that race,
you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Neil, I'll be coming. I'll need help while I'm in the UK trying to find Dr. Tracy Berman in the Three Peaks race. Okay, anyway, sorry. I was listening to the latest show whilst building up a new wheel, a 50-millimeter tub rim, 28-hole, 3-cross, Hope Pro 4 hub, my favorite. By the way,
someone else on this show rides a Hope Pro 4 hub.
I was going to mention that.
Who is that?
That would be Mr. David Palin.
What?
He doesn't ride it very fast. And this weekend, he didn't ride it that far, but he rode it.
That's Neil. That's one of the. I built a set of tubeless wheels.
Yes, he's talking about tubs,
with the intention of riding them. And one of the rear had a Hope Pro 4 hub that Mr. David Palin bought off me when he got his Warbird, and now he's using them because I hadn't even ridden them one time yet, and they've been hanging on the hooks for like months. So I just went and sold them because he needed wheels, and they were sitting there. So yeah, that's a great hub. Oh man, I took one of them. I have another one sitting on the shelf unlaced that I have to figure out what I'm going to do with. So
that may be my second set of this bike.
And they're just awesome. I mean, the mechanics of them is awesome. So anyways, I digress. Go ahead, Mr. David Penn. I'm sorry.
So you mentioned the possibilities of 3D printing bike parts. Well, the future is sound effects here. Do you know those BB7 cable disc calipers where the plastic adjuster would keep getting lost?
Yes.
And then the brakes would self-adjust mid-race?
Yes.
Yes. In the 2017-18 season, I needed to get a quick replacement part before a national trophy race, so I decided to 3D print one. So the key things here, he's pointing out that he raced in the national trophy race. And
I wonder if it was
has
for
a
his
3D
bike.
printer.
He just said he needed it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Being an engineer professor, I managed to turn the project into a sport engineering case study and produce this little video complete with a 1990s style soundtrack. We'll put a link in the show notes.
Let me ask Neil, but I think we can probably. Yeah.
And don't forget Atherton Bikes prototyping frames with 3D printed titanium lugs that are being used in the World Cup downhill this season, including a win.
Woo.
The lug is back. More sound effects. We'll put that in post. Right. I've got a wheel to build. Cheers. Neil Mansfield.
Yeah, so he sends us this little video of it's that little adjuster cap that goes into the end of the mechanical disc caliper.
Right.
And it's
traditionally
amazing.
It's red. His was gray.
Like a gray color, and this video, it prints it off. He kind of breaks the little extra bits off, like you do for any plastic part.
Yeah.
And polishes it up a little bit, I think, pops it in there.
And off he goes.
Shows how it works, hops on the bike and takes off. It's like, oh my God, this is cool. But this is exactly what I'm talking about, Mr. David Palin, is obviously I know people are 3D printing bike parts already.
Yep.
But imagine the state of the bike industry when every bike shop has a 3D printer. When the price is down, I mean, I know it's gone down dramatically recently, but when the price is so cost effective that I just, as a shop, I have a 3D printer, and when I need parts, I can call someone, pay for the ability to print one version of here's the data you need that the printer needs. Here you can print one because that's what I've paid for. If I want 10, I pay for 10.
Yeah,
and it prints it off.
Yep.
And there
no
it
more.
is.
You know what?
No shipping.
Great. Now UPS is going out of business. I hope you're happy.
Well, you can't print everything, so there is that.
Okay.
But things like that. I mean, that's a great example. That was one I had not even thought of, and that's really what we asked is, what are some other things? I mean, we were thinking derailleur hangers, brake levers, like the actual lever itself.
Stem caps.
I mean,
some things are really cool. Some things you need a very unique part, but some things are really cool because you can do your own design.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
A stem cap.
Exactly. A stem cap is a great example of that. So, this is really cool, Neil. Thanks so much for sending that. We really enjoyed watching that. And let me know if it's okay, and we'll post this up in the show notes.
All right. Should I read the next one from Pete?
Read the next one.
My frame has no tabs to mount a bash guard.
Wait. Whoa.
Yes, sir.
You forgot to read the greeting.
Oh, hold on. Let me go back. My frame has no tabs to mount a bash guard. Oh.
Pete, where's the... I mean, come on, dude.
Pete, I was trying. I tried to just go into it really quick so he wouldn't pick up on it. What the heck, Pete?
Come on, Pete. Loosen up, would you?
Oh, poor Pete.
Pete is just all about business.
That's it.
Right. He just
doesn't even say dear sir.
Doesn't want to say hi. He just get to it.
Yeah.
All right. Then go, Mr. David Palin.
I currently have a PF30 bottom bracket. My chainring is a direct mount type. Drivetrain is 1x12 SRAM. He is kind of really facts.
Yeah.
Here are the facts.
Yeah, good.
He's probably an engineer too. Are there any bash guard options? Ones that mount on the bottom bracket shell? Ones that mount on the chainring? Are there other compatible cranksets that I can more readily add a bash ring?
Thanks.
He really likes the bashing.
Pete from the Northeast. So I do not know a ton about bash rings. It's obviously more a mountain bike thing. I guess some cyclocross people run. I would think about, one of the things you could think about, Pete, is running, and this was Mr. David Palin's idea.
Oh. Should I suggest it?
Run a double ring. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, run the crank set with a double ring.
Yeah.
And the outside ring is your bash guard.
Is your guard. Or you can get a guard that'll fit on, that'll just fit on that outside ring. That might be the best way to do it. With a PF30 and no frame mounts, man, I don't know how that's going to...
Is there one that slides in behind the bottom bracket?
Like a ring? Mean behind the PF cup?
Yeah.
Maybe, but and then I would just worry about that. How's it if it's
going to sit out too proud too? Yeah, I wouldn't go with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That wouldn't be my first option. My first option would be put a double ring, like you said, put a double ring crank on and run a bigger. Just run a toothed ring and with no derailleur would be enough. That'd be more than none. But you can just get rings. I've seen people grind the teeth off too.
Yeah,
and just.
Less dangerous that way, but live with the danger. If you have come to a log crossing, you need to cut it up. It's better to have those teeth and make it a chainsaw out of your bike.
So that would probably be the easiest way to do it, I would think.
Sure.
Unfortunately, that's a new crank. I mean, that kind of sucks. But
I guess the other question is, why do you need the bash guard?
Yeah, why do you need the bash guard? I mean, I'm guessing Pete is talking about a mountain bike. I haven't seen bash guards on cross bikes in maybe forever. I don't know. So, but that's what I would do, man.
Yeah.
That's probably what I would do.
So I'll let you take the next one, which is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum.
Now we have a greeting that is a paragraph long.
Yes. Go ahead.
All right. It starts out, Dear Messrs. Scott, Whoop-de Vinyl Pack, and David, brakes only slow you down, especially if they aren't Canty's palindrome.
There you go. It would have been even better had that been a palindrome.
Yes, you're right.
I'm just throwing that out there.
And then it goes on. Ahem. I consumed your latest edification pertaining to chain checkers with some consternation. What?
What? Don't be concerned.
As any cyclist worth their salt owns a $10 other currencies available set of digital calipers, surely all this nonsense about needing a dedicated chain checker tool is superfluous.
Not easy to say.
Stick with it. You can do this is Tweety Mike.
Tweety Mike, man. Tweety Mike goes back to John's days.
Oh, yeah. Tweety Mike goes back.
Goes way back.
Way back. So, all right, he continues. I write as one who has absolutely no compunction for purchasing random and randomly expensive single-purpose tools of exquisite complexity, simplicity, and all too often wifely reprimand, often from BBI. You know, he bought the BBI, the book, the torque tool. That you can put any wrench in and then attach it to your torque wrench so you can measure torque.
The claw?
No, it's not the claw. I've got one. I think I've showed it to you before. It's got like two rollers and the torque wrench fits in the middle and has like a band. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Tweety Mike bought that.
So
it's not cheap.
There's only two people that have bought that tool.
But it is beautiful.
I'm sitting with one of them.
No, a lot of people buy that tool because oftentimes, especially when the industry changes, there is no other good way to torque certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you an example. When the new Dura-Ace bottom brackets came out, there was no cup tool to fit on that bottom bracket yet. The only one was a wrench style to tighten the bottom bracket.
Right, yeah.
How do you torque it? It has a torque spec. How do you torque that thing?
The crow's foot won't work on
that?
How
do you know? You had to have that end, that fitting to get on the bottom bracket shell.
Oh, yeah.
So, how do you torque that?
With your calibrated
If you don't
wrists.
have that BBI tool, you don't.
Yeah.
You ask your shop, how did you guys torque that to spec? They won't be able to tell you how they did it. Anyways, so I think Tweety Mike, and that's a great tool, and that's a good purchase for you, my friend, no matter how much wifely reprimand you get.
Yeah, sometimes you have to stand up and take those wifely reprimands.
But then he says, but I draw the line at chain checkers. Wait a minute. He buys an $60 tool, but he doesn't want to buy a $5 chain checker.
He draws some funny lines.
Apart from the inherent and inevitable variability in their accuracy and operator usage, the humble digital caliper cannot, to my mind, be beat. All right,
he's going to tell us the process.
And then he gives us directions, yes. Leave chain on bike, okay. Shift into big to give good tension. Okay, that's cool. Shift caliper. He's shifting his caliper. Not just sliding it, he's shifting it.
Okay.
Shift caliper to 127.0 millimeters. Measure from, and this part I like, measure from the rear of one outer plate to the rear of the plate 5 lengths along. A new chain will be spot on 127.0 millimeters. And see, that's better than like if you were trying to measure from the center of a rivet to the center of a rivet, because that's just a harder thing to keep one side like pinned on that point and then get it figured exactly out. So it's better to measure it like this from the rear of the outer plates. Absolutely. A half-worn chain will be 127.2 millimeters. A 100% worn chain will be 127.4 millimeters. And if you replace at that point, you will get many chains out of a cassette, at least 3. In my experience running Ultegra 6800 over the last 5 years, 10,000 plus all-weather surface miles, 2 cassettes, and the same chain rings. Yes, measure at 3 points in the chain to confirm. I've never seen readings differ by more than 0.05. And you also have the handiest of tools, the digital caliper, always to hand for the multitude of other jobs. I feel the above explanation is far easier for people to grasp and perform than any of the plethora of different chain checker methods, yours, etc., etc. Okay, Mike, you're crazy.
We love you, though.
There is no way all those numbers and 5 links is easier than a chain checker.
No.
There is no way. Now, this is a great method. I really like this method of doing it.
Yeah.
But there is no way that's easier than
I'll tell you, the one thing where I will agree with him on this, when he talked about the variability of accuracy, is in particular the Park one, the ones that measure with the little pins and stuff, because those pins get bent or you push them hard.
Yes.
But those drop-in chain checker tools.
Well, and you might find some difference from one tool to another. They might not universally all be spot on, but what the deal is, you're going to learn the one that you use, right? And that's what you kind of learn, and that's what you figure out and learn and use, right?
But I do like his prose. His prose are actually very, very good. He's quite the writer.
I like the idea of not having to buy a new tool, but this is a very inexpensive. Most of these are the Shimano one is a little bit expensive, but it's really good. And I'll say the accuracy of that one is pretty darn good. I think you're gonna have a tough time convincing me that the Shimano one isn't accurate.
But let's be honest. Similar to bikes, don't you always need just one more tool?
Right. It's like you don't want an excuse. You don't want excuse to have less tools.
Right.
That's not how this works.
I used to take on projects just so I had a good reason to buy a tool.
Another tool. Of course. Come on, Mike. No, it's all just in fun. This is a great way. The bottom line is this is a great way to measure your chain.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it that way and that's what works for you, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right. Thanks for that, Tweety Mike. And I think we'll be talking soon.
I'm sure we'll be hearing from Tweety Mike.
We might do some more stuff with Tweety Mike here coming up on some other podcasts.
That would be great.
All right. Hit me, Mr. David Pan. We got one more.
To the Honorable Scotty D. And the generally okay Mr. David Powell.
Honorable. Wow.
He's trying to get into your good
graces.
When I ask
for greetings, I don't expect that. I mean,
to start.
So this is This is Russ. By the way,
I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the first sentence.
Oh,
to start.
That's right. I'm sorry.
This is Russ. Try Russell, but now rebranding as Donut Endurance Russell. Because it is more accurate now.
And if
he's not doing the tries anymore. And
if you follow Donut Endurance on Instagram, or not Instagram, you'll see a lot of donut pictures.
And he's like full in gravel now.
Because it's more accurate. I love it. I love it.
First question. What, in your opinions, is the best way to run a tubeless setup for a CX? Minimum, maximum pressure, sealant, etc. And what have you seen done wrong with tubeless setups for CX? I've heard a lot of complaining about burping tires. Second question. That was really 2 questions, wasn't it? Third question. What is the best way to clean the bottom bracket after the crankset is pulled out of the frame?
All right, so
Thanks, Russ.
Mr. David Palin, tubeless setup. This is really hard to answer, Russ. I don't know if we can give you a good answer. Can't say this is a good minimum, this is a good maximum pressure, blah, blah, blah. Sealant, my opinion, stands all the way. Okay, send the hate mail if you want. In my opinion, stands is still the best. There's other good ones, but why not just get stands? Here's the other thing. Stands support cyclocross teams.
They do.
Right? They send mechanics to cyclocross races.
Not just any mechanic.
They have teams that their mechanics work on and for. Please support that.
And they sent a mechanic to Glengarry, Glen Ross, Glen Close.
Yes. Support that.
Look at it. He's dumbfounded.
Guys,
I've never seen him. He's spitting and sputtering.
Guys and ladies, this is what we need to do, right? If someone's showing dedication to our sport that we all know and love,
this is how we say thank you.
This is how we say thank you and keep them coming back. So, stand sealant all the way.
Yeah. Stands rims.
Other
Stands
sealants
tape.
do stuff too. I'm not saying no one else does either, but Stands is all in. So, anyways, minimum and maximum pressures.
Depends on you.
Depends on so many things.
Depends on your tires. Depends on your, all these different things. And keep your moleskin, because if I remember, Donut Endurance is an engineering kind of guy, right?
Right.
Have your moleskin and your sharp mechanical number 2 pencil. Go out on the course in all kinds of conditions. Ride your figure eights and figure out what pressure is right for you. Figure out what pressure you're going to be able to keep the grip and not slide out and not burp the tires. I will say burping tires was a bigger issue in the past, but now it's more people try to blame their burps on the tires.
Yes.
Similar to what you do with your dog when it starts to smell in the car and you look around and you say, that was the dog, right? Same thing. You burp and you just say, oh, it was not me. It was the tires.
Well, Russ, if nothing else, Russ loves to tinker with stuff. Well, all you got to do is follow him on social media and you know that that's true. So here, Russ, here is the perfect place to go do that, right, Mr. David? Like you just said, get your notebook out, get your pencil, pen, whatever, and start doing tests, right?
Write
Play
down
with
the
your
conditions,
pressure.
the grass, whether it's sand or grit or gravel, sand, it was wet out, it was hot out, it was dry, whatever.
Yep.
And then you learn what kind of turning you can do.
Yep.
And what kind of pressures you can run.
Yep.
And if it burps, it's better to figure that out on a day when you're out on your own.
It's good to have a written record of that, but you'll also start to intuitively understand what those tires can and can't do.
Yeah.
Even just without having to refer to the written down. Write it down still. That's very important because you're going to forget, and 3-4 weeks into the season, it's good to have that as a refresher, but you will just start to learn, oh man, I can run this setup that I have, because we all know certain tire rim combinations are going to work better than others. And in general, if you had a really tough time setting something up, it's probably a little more susceptible to having issues, right? You might have to run a little bit higher pressure in that tire than in one that sets up really easily. In my experience, those tend to really hold the bead well, even at lower pressures. So learn what you've got, right? Go to a dedicated tubeless setup, of course, and really go out and test. Continually testing this stuff. Figure eights. If you're not, circles, if that's what you want to do, whatever, or build yourself a little test course where you're running over stuff, because you want to test, I want to run over some branches to simulate tree roots or something like that.
Right.
Great. But have the same course that you can do over and over and over again. Pay attention to the conditions and how the tire performs under each conditions and go from there. So,
and Donut Endurance, I'm hoping that we're going to see you at either Coast to Coast this year or next year, or come out to the Red Kite Ronde. I think you would enjoy that.
There you go.
I do.
What have we seen done wrong with tubeless setups? I don't know, Mr. David Palin.
It's the first time I took a tubeless setup on a gravel ride.
Mm-hmm.
My mechanic just handed the wheel to me, and something happened. It burped, and I crashed. So that is what goes wrong with
something
tubeless.
happened. It burped and I crashed. That something could be that you running off the road.
It was a rut. Okay, it was a little bit of a rut. But I like to blame my mechanic. Because I figured that's what makes me like a pro rider. If everything goes well, it's my power that does it. But when I crash, it's because my mechanic didn't set up my wheel set right.
I think the biggest thing that I see them wrong is too much pressure. I think
that's certainly true in tubeless.
Yeah.
It's true for gravel and cross in general.
Yes.
People are so afraid to
And
go.
I think they're even more afraid with tubeless, though. They're so worried about the tire burping that they overcompensate that with way too much pressure.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, they can be running that a lot lower.
And there's an advantage to running them lower.
Yes. So I'd say that's the biggest thing that I see. As far as tubeless setups, as far as getting it set up, this was not a cross tire. This was a mountain bike tire.
Oh.
And someone asked me if I could help them switch over their tubeless tires. I said yes. And I went and I took the tire off. And I am not kidding you, Mr. David Paan. I bet there was 16 ounces of liquid sealant inside the tire.
Was it all sealant?
Yes.
So it wasn't like water that it creeped in? Or, no.
I mean, maybe a little. I don't know. But no. At least 2 cups of sealant. 2 full cups of sealant.
So you don't need much air in that case.
I'm like, what are you doing?
So that's I'm trying to think, it's what, 13 pounds of sealant in there?
That was just in one tire.
Did you look at the other one?
The other one was the same. Yeah, they were both like that. I was like, what are you doing? I mean, what did you do? Go and buy the quart bottles of sealant?
He went and bought, he bought the quart size and then read the directions because the bottle was messy or whatever. Read the little bottle, the individual size. It says,
use entire bottle.
This bottle is used for one wheel. So he just used the whole bottle.
Now, in general, mountain bike tires need more sealant just because they're bigger than cyclocross tires. But man, oh man.
Wow.
So that's one thing I've seen.
Yeah.
All right. So last question. What is the best way?
The other thing.
Yes.
That people do wrong. Using Gorilla Tape or duct tape.
Yeah, I don't
or
like that.
Black electrical tape to seal the rims.
The only place I'll give a little bit of a pass for that is if they have a loose fitting tire and they want to build it up. They want to build something up in the rim groove so that they get more a tighter fitting tire.
I understand what you're saying, yes.
So I'll give a little bit of a break for that. But in general...
Put another layer of stands.
Absolutely. I agree. If that solves it, but sometimes they want... they just want more they need more mass to make it fit right. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of a break there. But don't just do it as a general practice. Not necessary. No. Again... support the people that support the sport. All right, last question. What is the best way to clean a bottom bracket after the crankset is pulled out of the frame? What kind of bottom bracket?
It will depend on that, won't it?
Right.
Yeah.
If it's threaded, I'm guessing threaded because those tend to be the hardest to clean.
Yeah.
Press fit, it's
a rag,
a rag run through it. But if it's threaded, the best way is just run your thread chaser through there, right? That'll dig everything out.
Yep.
But if you don't have one of those, that is an expensive tool.
A polka-dokie there will work too. Like a sharpened spoke.
Yeah. So what I generally use is some kind of soft brush like a toothbrush. A toothbrush works great, but you can also buy mechanics brushes that are shaped like a toothbrush and they have different toughnesses. Like you can buy some that are really at the one end, they're really soft plastic.
Yeah.
They get tougher and tougher plastic. And then there's like a couple, like maybe with brass bristles, that are real soft metal. Mm-hmm. One of the things is a bottom bracket, a threaded bottom bracket is some of the hardest metal around, right? Mm-hmm. So having like brass haired brushes is not going to damage your bottom bracket threads, right? So use those. If all you have is a toothbrush, use that. Clean the grooves out as best as you can. Flush it. And then if you still have like Loctite or stuff stuck in the threads, yes, Mr. David, I like to use the 90-degree pick.
Yep.
That's got the 90-degree angle, and just go around, carefully, put it in the threads. You're not going to hurt it. And just kind of lightly run it around. If he starts to catch, just like when the dentist cleans your teeth.
I was just thinking that.
If it starts to catch on stuff in the thread, kind of, work that out of there and then keep going.
Yeah.
And all the way, keep going around and round and around the thread till you get to the very end, out the end, and you've done a pretty good job.
And
while you do it,
while you do it, say to your bike, are you flossing?
That's right.
Because your bike can answer just about as well as you can while you have your mouth packed with cotton and the dentist is picking at stuff. And
that's right.
Yeah, right. So,
all right, Mr. David Palin, I think that's it.
One other. I have one other to throw in on here.
Yeah.
With the, if you have, and you should, service course brushes, the conical brush
will fit inside.
And then you give it a spin with both hands.
Yeah.
And that'll help get out some of that caking stuff too.
Service course. We're going to be talking service course a lot.
Yeah.
Because because CX is coming, season is coming.
Indeed it is. It will be here before you know it. Indeed,
no, that's a legit point for sure.
Yeah.
But
so, to me,
it's
all about security, right? That's what this whole thing has been leading into today.
Yeah.
Is about being, sometimes it's better safe than sorry. Even when you don't need to do some of this cleaning, you do it. And you maybe get away with a chain that's only 75% there, but you really want to change that chain. So
yes.
What does that make you think
What's
of,
the best security you can have?
I would say
life insurance.
Life insurance.
Get on over to, these guys have been a sponsor of ours forever. We love Health IQ.
Health IQ.
HealthIQ.com/WAP. Don't forget the WAP, because if we want you to do this and we want them to know that you were there because
of our
you're
wide angle podium network.
Yes, because this is an effective way for them to get people to come check it out. HealthIQ.com/WAP and go see about some life insurance, because what Health IQ does is they take into account the fact that you are an athlete.
Because you listen to BikeShopshow.
And if you are an athlete, you are a lower risk for life insurance. So they take that into account and pass the savings on to you and give you great rates. You should have life insurance. We should all have life insurance as we start the adulting stage of life.
Of course, yes.
And just, so I was thinking about this the other day, Mr. David.
You were.
Tom. I think you and I, specifically you,
should have double my life insurance.
Are the oldest people on Wide Angle Podium.
Specifically me, I think.
You're the oldest person, and I'm the next oldest. Because Bill...
No, hold on. Most mature.
Most mature, because I think Bill is the next closest, and Bill is a couple years younger than me.
Oh. Ouch.
Man, oh man.
So there's one race I'm winning. And if you look at age per height, kind of like watts per kilo, age per height, I got you guys.
You're way ahead. You are way ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why, of course, we have life insurance.
Of course we do. We adult well.
Yes, we're the old guys on the network.
Yeah, I think that might have been why Dr. T was pushing me, saying, you could probably make it to the next stop. Go ahead. It's only 95 degrees.
So take it from the old guys.
Yeah.
Get on over to healthiq.com.
Healthiq.com.
WAP and check it out. Fill out the questionnaire. If you score elite, you're going to get great rates on life insurance. If you don't, use that as your training goal and you'll get it. You'll get there and you're on your way to health and good fitness, etc. And having good life insurance. So there you go, Mr. David Palin.
There it is.
All right, Mr. David Palin.
Yes, sir.
If people want to follow you on the social networks.
Twitter and Instagram at Mr. David Palin. And look for or listen for, we should have put this in earlier with a plug, but I will be at Cincy CX this year without a Tahoe Avalon boat stage.
Do you and Scott know how to race, to announce a race together without an Avalon pontoon boat?
We will find out. We've done, we've done Indy together.
Yeah,
we've done other races together.
Yeah.
But I am very excited to say
that's going to be amazing.
Mr. Voice.
That's one of the
Mr. David.
That's one of the races on my list for sure.
Yeah.
So I will be there. So that's going to be awesome.
So if you want me to butcher your name, come to Cincy CX. No, there's no one that does as much homework as Mr. Voice of American Cyclocross, and we will get it as right as we can.
So that's going to put a lot of pressure on you.
It does.
You better start studying.
I have already started. As soon as I got the call that said yes, it's not like I have to be honest. It's not like they kid. Hey, Mr. David Pound, we've been dying to have you come up here. I have been offering my services for quite some time, and I got an email last time we were recording.
You finally broke Julie down.
She has finally said, if you will stop complaining about it, I will let you.
Stop bothering me. I will
Whatever
let
it
you
takes.
announce the race.
You almost ruined my race by racing in it. I got to do something, get you out of that thing, put you on the stage. Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. And
that's going to be good. Yeah. That's going to be great. All right, and as always, you can give me Scott Diedenbach at BikeShopCX on both Instagram and Twitter. Instagram's probably the better way, but go ahead and message me. I know for some reason people don't like to message on Instagram, it seems like, as much, but go ahead and message me. It's no big deal.
Yeah, but questions, on the other hand...
Questions must be submitted via email. Send them to bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
We still occasionally get a question that comes either via Instagram or the Twit.
What's that address again, Mr. David Palin?
Bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
All right, and with that, Mr. David Palin.
Yes, sir. The bike shop, she's closed. Now, this is the part where we don't talk because the whole outro.
Shh.
Okay.
All right, that is the show for this week. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. As always, thank you to our sponsors, healthiq.com/WAP, Whoop, and Grimpeur Bros Coffee. We love all our sponsors, and thank you so much. Next time, we don't know exactly what we're going to be talking about, but we're going to be getting more tech ideas. I don't know how to explain it, but it's going to get a little more techy here coming up in the next weeks because the season is coming. CX season is coming. Can't wait to start hashtagging that for real. So hope everybody tunes in for that. Get on over to Wide Angle Podium. Listen to all the great shows over on Wide Angle Podium. We even got a plug on Slow Ride the last time.
We did, yeah.
They got it wrong.
Of course.
You know, that's
they
what they
thought
do.
you were going to be on the
That's
on the
what
boat.
they do, right? So get
last
on over.
time Scott did announce, or a long time ago, Scott announced the.
I announced one of the original. Elma
prior
GPs.
to the boat being there, and then when the boat showed up, Scotty D gets.
I
boat
get
sick.
booted.
He got boat sick.
That's all right.
He gets
I got enough
seasick.
other
People
stuff
don't know.
to do.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I think that's enough yapping. I hope everybody is getting out there and riding. If you are getting out there and riding, you remember the drill. Be careful out there. Take care of each other out there. And until next time, the bike shop is closed.